Okay.
Okay, welcome. I'd like to call the regular town board meeting to order, December 9th, 2021. If you would, please rise. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this point, we'll start. If we get any visitors at this point would like to speak, we get public access at the end of the meeting also. Anybody? Come on right up.
Thank you. I can't stay long. So that's good. Kathy Betzinger, 1 Valley View Drive. Over the past month, at least 4 or 5 times, I try to.
Got a little humming there.
Yeah, that's right.
Turn that down a little bit.
I'll
Sorry.
stand back here.
No, you're doing good.
Okay. At least 4 or 5 times, I come out of Valley View, and when I want to go on a Hoosick Street, I take a right onto North Lake and then proceed onto the intersection. At least 4 times, the light changed 3-4 times, and there's only like 3 or 4 cars in front of me before I can even turn left onto Hoosick Street. It's becoming just terrible, terrible. And it's all various times of the day. I avoid it completely from 4 to 6 o'clock. I mean, that's like, no one drives on it, at that time, especially the intersection. So I have to take a left and go up all the way around. And then when I try to see my sister who's in Highland Creek and my friend who lives there, I literally have to go all the way up around or go out right onto Hoosick, pull out, try to get left and go up around the school in order to get in the back way. It's just maddening when there's traffic, especially at those intersections. I heard from somebody else saying that the planning board and with Hannaford going in, that somebody's suggesting putting a roundabout on Lord Avenue.
News to me. Russell, you're
That's
chair
what
on the
I
plan.
heard.
I've been hearing rumors about roundabouts, but it's not coming from the town.
Has the town approached, are they planning on doing any meetings with the public, with DOT, with the city of Troy to
Yeah.
address, get some feasibility studies, some suggestions
I have a
from
gentleman with-
DOT about what to do?
I have a gentleman with us tonight that's going to talk about that.
Oh, good.
So
All right.
it'll be good.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
All right, Kath. Anybody else at this point? Come on up, if you would, please. Maybe your name, if you don't mind. Get you on tape.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
It's my understanding.
Excuse me, sir. Need your name and
Oh, yeah,
address, please?
it's William Kester. That's Koester. And I live at 24 Deep Kill.
Thank you.
It's my understanding that under the federal bill that just passed, that Rensselaer County and the municipalities in Rensselaer County are slated to receive substantial monies for improvement of infrastructure. I wanted to ask you here if you have any knowledge of what that might mean in terms of dollars for Rensselaer County and specifically for Brunswick. And secondly, if you have a process for how that money might be used in the township.
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen anything. I mean, our controller's not with us tonight, but nobody's mentioned anything to me yet. Wayne, not put you in a spot. You want to step up here? I'm putting you right on a spot. I'm sorry. This gentleman stayed pretty well tuned in. So
Wayne Baumsteel, 259 Keefe Road, Troy. I do the planning board engineering review.
Yes.
And I was formerly the Rensselaer County engineer in charge of the DPW and engineering for Rensselaer County.
Understood.
When an influx of money comes in from the feds, there's a process by which the money is appropriated. They establish an amount for the state of New York, how much of federal money they'll get out of this new federal bill. The state of New York controls the money that trickles down to counties and towns. Most counties and towns in the state of New York are not on the national highway system. The national highway system gets the bulk of the money. Interstates, major arterials, major state roads. They do a set aside for local projects. And once that money is established for the capital district, the NPO actually controls how the money is distributed throughout the region.
I'm sorry, the NPO,
The Metropolitan Planning Organization for the Capital District.
I understand, okay.
What they do is they solicit projects from counties and towns and cities within the capital district. The towns and cities and counties apply with their list of projects, and then they decide which of those projects can get funded based on the pot of money that they have available from the feds. So Capital District Transportation Committee is the NPO for this area. It includes Rensselaer County, Saratoga County, Schenectady County, Albany County. I'm missing one. Anyway, the bigger counties in the capital.
Greener Columbia?
I think Greener, Columbia are on the fringe.
Understood, okay.
Yeah, and then like, if you go north to like Warren County, that's a different NPO.
Schoharie, maybe?
What's
Maybe
that?
Schoharie, maybe?
No, Schoharie is in Region 9,
Off the 9.
so they're too far out. So they know what that federal pot of money is based on the new federal transportation bill, and they distribute the money with DOT to figure out who gets it. They have parameters that you have to meet. Like they call them priority networks, transit, pedestrian generators. There's a whole list of priority networks, and the CDTC does a really good job of doing the scores on the projects that are submitted for funding. And then they come out with the list, they call that the TIP. It's the Transportation Improvement Project List. It'll include, transit projects, bridge projects, highway projects, planning projects that can get funded through that pot of federal transportation money. So it's a process. It's not like they're going to come to Brunswick and say,
No, I didn't.
you get
I didn't
this,
assume
you
that.
get this piece of it. Or they won't go to Rensselaer County and say, you get this piece of the federal transportation bill. It doesn't work that way. So I believe there is a solicitation out for projects now, but I don't believe that they've been appropriated that new transportation money yet.
Understood.
Because every 5 years or 3 years, I think they update their plan. I believe, based on the new transportation bill, there will be a significant amount of money available for which the town can apply for
That'd be nice.
when that comes around.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful in terms of understanding this process and
Well, I'm going to ask Wayne to come to the town board meetings now.
good idea. Wow. Maybe I'll come too.
We have people, we just have to grab them.
Yeah, what I'd like to ask respectfully is as this process unfolds, if you could keep folks here, your constituents, if you keep them informed and let us know where some public input could be put as you're able to put forward with the solicitation certain preferred projects. I think it would be great to hear from everyone
Yeah.
in the town. So thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. Have a happy holiday.
Thank
Thanks.
you, you too. It's coming pretty fast, so. Anybody else at this point?
Hi again, Kathy
Hi.
Lanigan, Sugar Hill Apartments. Any debt that the town would take on for this to pay for road improvements would be tax-free. We also don't need any of those new federal dollars. The tax revenue from the businesses that are coming into the town would have a share of any road improvements. Less congested roads would also encourage further growth by attracting more businesses to Hoosick Street. The town leadership did a good job to ensure we have a good AA credit rating. At current short-term rates, the town could issue a one-year tax-exempt note for this work at rates as low as 0.04% to 0.40% to 0.50%. With rates this low, it's the opportune time to borrow. Taking a loan to do this will not negatively impact the town's credit rating because it is to improve our infrastructure. Once the work is finished, the debt can be rolled into an improvement bond over 10 to 20 years. And again, the revenue from the new businesses will more than pay for it, so our taxes will not increase. Businesses can't bond out their debt in this fashion, but definitely some towns can take advantage of this. Highly recommend the town get advice from a qualified bond counsel to look at all options. When will the town be meeting with the Department of Transportation? Do you have a date?
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
When will the town be meeting with the Department of Transportation regarding road repairs?
I can
Kathy
have,
asked if you were meeting and you said yes.
yeah, you'll get up and talk. Tell us what's going on. I'm struggling hearing you, I'm sorry. So,
So
You want-
do you
we're
have an
gonna talk-
appointment with the Board of,
okay, with the
Transportation?
state.
yes,
Yeah, Mr. Bonesteel, we've retained him and I'm going to have him do a presentation. We've asked for a grant to study Route 7, to work with the state for their suggestions, to see if we can do anything or what their suggestions are. He'll explain all that, so.
and he'll explain when the date of the meeting is?
Tonight, right now,
No,
It-
with the Department of Transportation.
with,
The meeting with the Department of Transportation.
well, we'll have Wayne tell you and we'll bring you up to speed there.
But he's not the Department of Transportation.
The meeting hasn't been scheduled yet.
No,
It hasn't- there, that's
we
what I
have
was
not
asking for.
scheduled a meeting.
Thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome.
Anybody else at this point? I think Santa Claus is going to give me new hearing aids, so maybe I can hear you better. Sorry.
Anyway, Louis Hutter, Hutter, 228 Whitchurch Road. Sounds like it's going to sound like I got a complaint, but I'm actually working with you on this. We got a sign law. I've said previously, it's a very good sign law, well written, intent is clear, very specific, pretty much accommodates the needs of everybody. A year or two ago, somebody made a public comment that nobody follows it, and the town doesn't enforce it. Since then, I have not seen any enforcement. We got a number of signs up that, are known to be out of compliance. We have people pretty much putting up whatever signs they want. You go along Route 7, you go past the Price Chopper Plaza, and with the Metro Mattress, you got 15 of those things. Well, he does it, now other people start to do it. This year, we had a very wild election year with signs all over the place. People putting up billboards in their front yard. I mean, you're looking at 8 by 10, 8 by 12. That's a billboard when you put up a sign like that. The town law specifically prohibits billboards. I think that's the last sentence in the town law. I haven't seen anything about it. We have a town council member putting up a flashing billboard to elect himself. So now the town council is doing whatever they want to do despite the law.
A flashing one?
Flashing one.
Oh, okay.
And,
But we didn't,
vote for, sorry, Phil.
yeah, I don't think you saw one this year. I didn't run for anything, so.
I said vote for, the 3 people up for election that had said vote for Phil and 2 others. But I mean, like, when the town council does whatever it
Yeah,
wants
yeah,
to do, despite the rules, I can do anything I want to do. That's the new law, of common usage. I meant to come last meeting for this, but I got the flu, and I didn't think anybody with COVID wants me up here hacking away. And then the zoning board had 2 applications for variances from the sign law. The poor guy's applying for a variance, and then other people doing whatever they want. I think we need to do something about enforcement. We got a good law. It really makes the town look good. You can put a sign up saying what your businesses are, but we don't want advertising. And I do see before the zoning board, I've done some of their variances, we need to tell people what we do. Well, that's advertising. That's a billboard then, and so forth. And do we want a proliferation of whatever we want to put up? We'll start looking like New York City or, Las Vegas. We have good signs in the town. You can see them. You know what's going on, and but we don't want billboards. It's not. It doesn't fit the way we live. You've never seen a billboard in the town, right? You've been here a long time.
Been here a long time.
You got a sign by your
Almost
farm
73 years. So.
that tells people where your farm is. And
Which is legal.
yeah, I believe it is. Well, as long as
They could be on the road leading to the farm. So.
it's on your premises.
Huh?
It's on your premises. You own the fields leading to your farms. That's your premises, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of saying where the farm, out in front of the farm, you mean?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be at your building. It just has to be on your premises.
Yeah.
On your property. The lot that the farm is.
See, when COVID was going on, we kind of backed down a little bit on some of these companies or businesses because we're trying to keep them going. It was tough on them. And I agree that mattress company is way out of control. Chuck, I mean, this is nuts. I mean, they got about 10 signs. The election billboard signs.
We have a right to express our opinion.
I started
We have
saying,
rules.
what do we pass a law about no election signs? And then I heard, oh, you're a incumbent. You've been here so long. Us guys trying to get our names out there. You're just being a dictator. So I've kind of backed off the election, but I think you can have election signs, can't
Yeah, there's a provision in there about temporary signs. That's where the election, the political posters are covered.
But
So check that section, Louis.
I'll recheck that section. I know they have for temporary, they even put in if you're selling a house, the bill to
Yep,
put up a
that's in there,
temporary
but
sign.
it's that same section.
But now, we also say billboards aren't allowed. A sign, there's one thing for a sign, there's another thing for a billboard.
Well,
We're getting pretty big this last
I
election
think it
season.
says how big they can be.
But I'll recheck it. But I really like the law, and but if we don't enforce it, we have no law. And then you can't go after one person because then it's, you don't like me, and he's going to beat us in a court of law.
Yeah.
And some people out there got very high priced lawyers that don't mind spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000.
Yeah.
And,
Trust me, I know.
Yep. And we don't have a leg to stand on. That we can't fight it because we allow this person to do it, that person to do it. And so it's the law. I'm like, really, it even considers if you have an outstanding sign that was existing when we passed the law, or the town accidentally approved it. There's a provision in the law for what to do to correct it. We pay for it. But honestly, we made a mistake. We pay for it. I agree with that. But just the problem is it just got out of hand, and I assume we want to keep it in hand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else at this point? Like I said, we have public access at the end also, so. All right. Business. Minutes of previous meeting. We got the November 4th, two public hearings, sewer extension, and 2022 budget. November 11th, regular meeting.
Very late, November 11th.
I read them. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reports by elected officials and department head. Mr. Lewis, town clerk.
Okay. Our office will be remitting $6,312.93 for the past month on rounded amounts. Recycling sales, $4,275. That's between the center and the office. $1,150 in rental fees, 7 new community center, and we had 1 pavilion reserved for next summer. $254 in dog licenses. 4 new residents and 34 are still here with us. and $633 in miscellaneous fees. 355 of that was vital statistics, like marriage licenses and death certificates. And $276 our cut of the license sales from DEC. For them, we took in $4,998. So that was our cut, 276. And that's about it.
Motion approved bills report.
I'll make the motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Highway Department, Mr. O'Donnell.
Good evening. The highway report for November. We patched roads 5 days, hauled brush to the landfill 1 day, hauled cardboard 2 days, leaf pickup 13 days, picked up bags 7 days, hauled leaves to the landfill 2 days, break down the leaf boxes 1 day, installed grates and spinners on the plow trucks 2 days, and attached wings and plows on the trucks 2 days, and fixed the Shine Road at the NIMO entrance 1 day.
Any questions? Entertain a motion for Ed's report.
I'll make it.
Can I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Bradley, Water Department. How's Bill tonight? Good?
Good evening. The Water and Sewer Report for November 2021. We completed all our water testing for the month. We did our THM samples. We haven't got the results back for those, but because of the summer and temperatures, everything else, it's surprising the numbers were high. So we're hoping that they'll be lower going into the winter time here, because we're really close in that what they call the long-term running average of being at the top of that limit. So I suspect the results will come back because things have cooled down. But I think a lot has to do with how the Tomhannock Reservoir behaves in the runoff and everything else that goes on out there. We're reading water meters for the February water and sewer bill. Of the 424 approximate radio read meters out there, after a couple false starts, I was able to go out and read all those meters in about a 3-hour time frame. So when you extrapolate that out and the mileage that you run and everything else, when we finally convert over to the radio reads, you'll be able to read all the radios in this town in a 2-day time frame, which will help because we can do it in between billing periods. So maybe we can capture those people that have a running leak or something like that, so that we can help them out, so that we don't end up at a point where they have a very high water bill, because this software will tell you that there's a continuous leak in your house. So you go out there, drive it, go back and take a look at the reports and give somebody a call and say, hey, you got a running toilet or something's going on in your house. So that'll help us when we move forward with that for the residents. I sent a letter to the Brunswick County Health Director, Mary Fran
Wachunas.
Okay. And in reference to and I sent her the results that we had from the well results on the Brunswick Road property, and requesting that they look into this and, provide some advice and feedback as far as, what the county would do next. And I did get a response from the County Health Director. And because the thresholds was below the maximum concentration level of 10 parts per million, the county said there was no additional required action. The county itself would not be taking any action on this. So just wanted to let you know that, we did reach out to them, did try to see, if there was some assistance. But right now they're saying because it's not over the threshold, I won't say there's not a reason to be concerned, but they won't take action. So,
Plus the fact, the county is responsible for wells and septics and.
Correct. They are the lead agency in this situation. They are the ones that are
With
responsible.
PFO situation going on, I just want to re-emphasize the municipal water supply in the town of Brunswick is safe. We get our water through the city of Troy, through Tomhannock. So our municipal water system.
Correct.
Is okay.
That's correct.
Some concerns with private wells.
Yes. And,
which the county has the expertise and.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So it is the county's responsibility to act on these things if necessary.
And you sent a letter to the county saying that some wells were checked and one was found. And
correct.
so
Yeah, so that, to try to determine whether or not they wanted to take further action, and they're not going to take further action on this. The Leon project at 660 Hoosick Road, they're continuing to clear that site and work on it. They're going to start low-level blasting with another couple of weeks here. They're clearing the lots and getting some debris over the top of the rock cleared and everything else. Anybody who wants to be notified of the blasting times can get a hold of me and give me their telephone number, and that way they will be called with a text. It has to be a cell phone. They can receive a text message for when the blasting will occur. So if we have residents that are concerned or anything else, they can be notified when it's going to happen. They did do the pre-blast surveys. Not everybody responded to their request to do a survey, and some people turned it down. So they've fulfilled their obligation there in doing the survey, and so they're ready to move forward with that. The Lord Avenue project for Hannaford is kind of at a standstill at the moment. They're doing some soil assessment down there. The soils that they brought in, they're holding more moisture than expected because of the weather conditions and that we've had. So they're having their geotechnical people, look at that and determine what the next course of action is to move forward. They may, this is speculative, they may wait if this weather pattern continues. They may wait until, the springtime to start this. So that's purely speculative on my part. Harbor Freight is continuing. They started pouring their footings, so they're moving right ahead there, down there. They're doing great. And on our end, technology is great when it works, but obsolescence is quite rapid in the digital age. So I've run into two situations, one with our own generator here, where the manufacturer is no longer supporting parts for that. So I have to go out into the internet, into third parties and other places to try to find spare parts. And I will find what I can and stock the critical spare parts that I can to prolong the life of that equipment. But, 20 years and it's done, which is, there's nothing wrong with the base equipment. It's electronics are no longer being supported. So disappointing. We also found that out yesterday with our Sewer 6 pump station. The touchscreen pad that controls the device it's failed. It's no longer being supported either. So now I have to reach out to the manufacturer, get a new device, get them to come here and program it at considerable expense. So it's just, I guess, the world we live in today. So that's all that I have, unless you got questions.
You just have to spend $60,000 at the farm because of our computer system in the milking parlor that records weights and conductivity and activity and all this stuff, because they don't make parts anymore.
Yep.
So
you're forced to turn over stuff is what you're
plus
forced
if
to
the
do.
tractor breaks down, the whole idea of taking a look at the motor doesn't work anymore. You got to call the company, come down, plug in computers.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm kind of happy with my age.
I know. It's like mechanical relays would last 50 years, and now we're into less than 20, and we have to look at potentially new equipment.
I was brought up where if you worked hard, you made a lot of money. That's kind of changing too.
That doesn't happen in the
How
farming
hard
business,
it
does it?
Thanks, Bill. Entertain a motion to approve Bill's report.
I'll make it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Golden, Superintendent of Utilities and Inspection.
Good evening, gentlemen. The report for November 2021 for the building department, we had 74 building and property inspections, 376 active building permits, 44 permits issued or renewed, 2 planning board meetings, 1 zoning board meeting, 0 court cases, 1 fire inspection, 5 follow-up complaint inspections, 3 code callouts, 9 code complaints, 7 code complaint inspections, 1 vacant abandoned property identified, 16 planning board projects and 2 zoning board projects. Much the same as the way I stole Bill's thunder during the department head meeting. He did that for me tonight, talking about all the projects that are being done. The only one that wasn't mentioned was the retaining wall at Pioneer Bank. So folks that are going down Woodward, please be careful that that roadway may be partially blocked at times to set that up there. We continue on with the report. The month over month, November of 2020, we had $735,643 of valued permitted property with permit fees of $2,804.60. Whereas this month, November of 2021, we had $4,635,392 with a permit fee of $19,625.40 for that. It's really not an apples to apples comparison because of course, the COVID-19. And for year to date, for 11/30/21, I'm sorry, 20 was $8,347,068.10 of valuation with a fee amount of $48,540.56. And as in 21, we are at $13,046,766.52 in valuation. That's the commercial properties coming in, and permit fees of $80,016.45. So. The gentleman that was up here earlier, I could not agree with him more with Metro Mattress. I've cited that individual, and that's obviously not working, so we'll probably step it up a level and probably have him remove the signs physically while I'm there watching. And as well as other ones. There are other banner signs as well. We spoke about this over the summer.
Right.
And you are right, that we were a little lax in that the businesses had such a hard time of it. So,
Right.
but now when you give them a couple of years of this, then you got to get back into an enforcement mode.
Yeah.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Thanks, Chuck.
Motion approved. Chuck's report.
I'll make it. I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Chuck, I want to acknowledge, I do appreciate the town supervisor, Mr. Golden, has been excellent on code enforcement in terms of call out with the fire companies. Over the years, that has not always been the case. And at 2:00 in the morning, my phone used to ring from the county dispatch saying, I can't find your code people. The fire people are looking for somebody. And I go down and not sure what I was looking at, but Chuck does go out at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, midnight, because he usually sends pictures. And the fire companies hopefully respect that. I bring it to their attention. So thank you for that. So, Mr. Chaffee, town attorney.
This past month, I participated in weekly meetings on the general zoning law update and plan revisions to regulations pertaining to two-family and multifamily dwellings. I continue to work with CSEA and outside counsel to finalize the new collective bargaining agreement. Prepared an introductory local law pertaining to the designation of the town's official newspaper and designating an alternate town newspaper for publishing legal notice when use of the official newspaper is not viable due to statutory publication timeframes. He also prepared associated hearing notices and other documents. Prepared an introductory local law to supersede and modify the public officers law and the town law so as to modify the requirement that the superintendent of highways of the town of Brunswick be a resident of the town of Brunswick, provided that the person appointed is a resident of Rensselaer County. Also prepared associated legal notices and other documents. Prepared the resolutions which are on the agenda for this meeting. This includes resolutions approving 3-year agreements with Brunswick Fire Company Number 1 and Mountain View Volunteer Fire Company for fire protection services within their respective fire protection districts. This includes the preparation of the fire protection agreements. Continue working with the supervisor's office on selecting a new telephone system for the town office. Reviewed various service and lease agreements with potential vendors. I worked with the supervisor's office on various personnel issues. Worked with the receiver of taxes and continuing to work with her in the supervisor's office regarding making taxes and other assessments payable online over the internet by credit card or recheck. I reviewed legal documents as requested by town officials and employees, and I performed legal research and provided legal opinions as requested by various town officials and employees.
Okay. I'll entertain motion approved town's report. Can I have a second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town historian, Sharon? You ready for the holidays, Sharon?
I sure am.
There you go.
Where's the party?
No.
We're going to have a historic party to break all records. Are we online tonight? Okay, good. I want to mention a couple things, and I hope some folks out there are listening and will send me some news. I was on vacation last week, last month. I missed the meeting. I didn't hear my report approved. Tom told me that's not necessary if I'm not here, but I think he's pulling my
I
leg.
remember saying that. You keep putting words in my mouth. I think you're practicing law.
I told you,
without a
we'll talk about it afterward
license.
tonight.
Beware of practicing law without a license, please.
Make sure
Okay.
that doesn't happen.
Anyway, during the month of October, I received a handful of requests for different kinds of information, one from a family about burials at Forest Park and another about a historic home that was for sale on Pinewoods Avenue. And one that was interesting, I never know sometimes what somebody might raise, and this one was new and different, was a question about an Eagle Mills postmark from the late 1800s. Now, I think all of you are members of the Historical Society, and you just received a newsletter, so I'm sorry, I did have an article in the newsletter about that. But this is really different. I talked to some other historians. There was a postmark, like a typical postmark, the circle with Eagle Mills, New York, and the date. And the stamp, the postage stamp was stamped with the image of a footprint. And believe it or not, there are people out there who collect stamps, and there are people out there who collect postal cancellations. And one gentleman happens to have two from Eagle Mills from the late 1800s. One was actually a letter that was going to England and was returned, and somehow it ended up in this guy's possession. And he said these could be very rare. It looks like someone carved a rubber stamp and put it on the postage stamp. Now, why would they do that? Because in the old days, the postage was a penny or two, and the recipient of the mail would take the stamp off and reglue it. They didn't have the self-stick ones like we do today. So that was a common practice, and a lot of times the local postmaster, who in this case would have been Andrew Mullen, who owned the general store in Eagle Mills and was Brunswick town clerk, put this image apparently on the cancellation. And we wonder why. The fellow that contacted me said usually these kinds of things happen because of a local business or some family that had some prominence in the community. We did not have a shoe manufacturer in Eagle Mills. We had two shoemakers. One made 60 pairs of boots a year, and the other one made 20 pairs of shoes, and they both lived on Pinewoods Avenue. So I don't know why this was chosen, but I do know Mr. Mullen and Bill's probably looked at his records. When he kept the town records, he wrote in calligraphy. He actually has some very interesting penmanship and flourishes in the keeping of town records. And sometimes when I've looked at things, I really feel this man wrote things knowing that someday one of us would read them. So whether he did this, maybe he had a playful personality, I don't know. Someone suggested to me, maybe he used the foot image because he just meant the mail was taking a walk out of town. So if anyone has any thoughts on this, let me know. We don't have a reward, but it is one of the more interesting things that's ever come up. So that was the big thing in my report for last month. And I'll just read my report for this month. On Sunday, November 14th, I met with a gentleman from Syracuse who's interested in the study of local history. We met at Forest Park, and I explained to him the various resources I explored in compiling a history of the cemetery as well as the various efforts that have been put forth to restore the cemetery. The meeting was arranged at the request of our former Brunswick librarian, Natalie Hurto, and her husband, Craig. And Natalie and Craig came along, and I didn't know this. Craig grew up in the neighborhood of Mountain View and Forest Park. And I would guess, when he was young, it was probably the 1980s. He said, I never knew there was a cemetery there. It was so obscured from the highway with the vegetation. So that was a nice get together, 2 hours on a Sunday morning. I've also received a lot of feedback about how well maintained and lovely Forest Park looked when we were filmed by WTEN back in October. And if anyone missed that, we were on with Tracy Broderick, president of the Historical Society, and I were both interviewed. I thought it would be, when they told us they were coming, 30 seconds or something. And Phil and I we were filmed at Forest Park once, and I think it was 20 seconds, right? This actually went on for a few minutes. Lydia and her cameraman stayed for really the duration of the tour. We were surprised with that. And we took in donations. We had about 80 some participants plus 12 volunteers. And we realized donations in the amount of $349 for the Tombstone Restoration Project. Back to this page. The New York State Archives has issued an advisory indicating it's restructuring its operations in terms of the way it will provide assistance to local governments and municipalities. And I guess generally Bill, as the keeper of our records, gets most of the communications from archives. In the past, they have dealt with things on a regional level. The local governments, your fire department, your schools, some of your municipal libraries. If you were in the capital region, then you went to that one meeting or workshop and asked whatever questions you had. Now they're going to operate, and probably makes more sense, by the nature of the type of agency that they're dealing with. So it won't be a regional delivery of services. It will be a type of service breakdown. And they are having a webinar on this on December 15th. And the last day to sign up is December 14th. It's one of these things, everything you wanted to know about the new system with state archives. So I don't know. Did you get that, Bill?
Yeah, I just got that in my email.
Okay. As I previously mentioned, I was seeking individuals who are interested in participating in an oral history interview, especially on the topic of how we coped with COVID-19 and anything actually that anyone wants to talk about. To date, I now have 3 individuals willing to participate, and I am planning to meet with them early next year. A couple wanted to wait till the booster became available. So we put it off till January. One individual I'm working with, she's doing a lot of her own writing. So I just want to mention, when I originally came on board as historian 27 years ago, there were really no oral histories on record. None had been done or preserved, I guess. And I started that program, and what happened was I ended up authoring a book on behalf of the Historical Society. Folks had a lot of memories. They had pictures to share. And we also used a lot of that material to develop the one-room school and two-room schoolhouse programs that I did for Tamarack. So now just about all the old folks that participated in those are gone. And we have a new generation of seniors, so there must be some of us around. You know what they say, today's activities are news, and the news of today becomes the history of tomorrow. But I spend a lot of time looking on the internet at old newspapers. It's not the same thing as actually talking to people who were there. But I do have to commend Doug LaRock, because you won't believe this. I have saved every issue of your newspaper for the last year. I got pages marked, but I'm going to go back. The pandemic just doesn't end though. I mean, I don't know what we're going to need or what, but every Brunswick article's circled and I've got this huge pile there. I hope I'm not in violation of some code or something. Oh dear. Okay. As the year comes to a close, I want to mention there's one challenge which remains, and I'm hoping maybe Mr. Christian can help me with this. And that is that marker from the Gilead Lutheran Church, which is really in deplorable shape right now. It's out in back of the highway garage. 3 people, I've taken pictures of it. 3 people have looked at it, none of them experts, and certainly I'm not in this matter. I don't know if it can be cleaned, the rust removed, and repainted. We do have a gentleman who is willing to donate up to $200 toward paints to restore it if it can be done. And I've already bought the Rust-Oleum and some sandpaper, but someone said to me, they think it's really a job for sandblasting. I don't know anything about that. I thought maybe everyone says someone who works with cars, and I'm thinking Gordy Christian, Larry Cronow, maybe. Will you look at it, please? That was up in Haynersville since the 1940s. I know the town had it restored once, paid for it, right? So the place that manufactures them out near the Finger Lakes, their minimal fee would be like $400 or $500 for repainting, depending on how, but the thing would be the cost of getting it there too. I'd pay for it, but the cost and the trouble getting it there is probably quite excessive.
Why don't you
So-
drive out there and go to a winery or something? Drive out there and go to a winery or something. Make a
I've been
trip.
to their wineries. I've been to Bully
Make a
Hill.
trip.
Will you pay for it?
Sure.
Maybe your wife and I'll go. What do you think?
There you go.
Okay. You never know. So anyway, if it turns out that it's not feasible to restore it, there may be a silver lining in this cloud, and that is that there is a not-for-profit foundation that will give some grants. A couple of other historians here in Rensselaer County have gotten grants for funding historic markers. However, the markers that they fund are not the blue and gold ones. So we'll see. I'm going to talk to the church and see if maybe, it's not their responsibility either. The state of New York's just said we don't want anything to do with this anymore. So, but maybe they'll be able to come up with a volunteer. So we'll see. And I appreciate the highway garage hanging on to that, Ed. Okay, recently I've had calls from several people who are compiling family histories, and they're asking about the availability of the 1950 federal census, and that findings from the 1950 census will be out April 2nd, 2022. In 1978, the federal government enacted a public law commonly known as the 72-year rule, which prohibits the release of census records having data about particular individuals or any individuals for at least 72 years. So that 72 years is coming up, and I'm so looking forward to it. Phil, we'll be able to see ourselves in the census, So, yeah, since 1850, the federal census and every census has basically been location-based. The enumerator goes out, they collect the information in the community. This past year we had more online than ever before. But that was the way it worked. And now we're probably going to very soon be able to search people by the name, even without an Ancestry.com membership. I don't know how far in the future that is, but I know there are efforts being made by the National Archives to have that kind of information available. So I'm studying what's available in the 1950 census. Since I was 3 when it was taken, I don't remember, but everyone's a little bit different. And I think this one has a lot of information about how people lived, living arrangements, still a lot of effort to collect information about who was on the farms, and probably something about the impact of World War II on some of the citizens. So that's starting to come out now. It is available online, and I'm studying that. So, and anyone looking for a place to take their families during the holiday school break, please remember the New York State Museum is open. Individuals over the age of 2 are expected to wear masks. Social distancing will be practiced. The museum shop is closed, but there is no firm admission fee, just a request for a donation. And I guess they've really have the same exhibits as well as some new ones that they've had. So put that on your list if you run out of stuff to do, or if Santa Claus doesn't bring enough toys.
Okay.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Motion to approve Sharon's report. Tom, you want to make that? Oh, you can make that. I'll make a
Um,
motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Trying to get them back on the good side. Mr. Angster, come on up. Recycling.
Good evening. The recycling report for November. Blue bags purchased at the center, we had 385 at $3 for $1,155. Blue bags purchased from vendors, 400 for $1,020. Purple bags purchased 144 at $2 for $288. Mixed newspapers and chipboards, 4.06 tons at $35 a ton for $142. Commingled glass, plastic, and tin, 6.56 tons at no charge. Bale corrugated, 2.97 tons at $130 a ton for $387. Metal light iron, 2.34 tons at $217 a ton for $453. Miscellaneous large and small appliances, we had 24. We had 11 TVs, 5 tires, 6 ACs, 3 propane tanks, and 2 dehumidifiers for $525. Our revenues were $3,971. General expenses, we did 16.1 tons of garbage at 69.75 a ton for $1,522. Electronics recycled 1.24 tons with 860 pounds at 35 cents for CRT handling for $301. And that gave us expenses of $1,823. The total amount recycled in landfill for the month of November was 33.27 tons, down a little bit.
Yeah, down quite a bit, actually.
Down by a little bit with the holidays and
Tell us about the bags. Bags are hard to get to.
bags are hard to get. And we finally got an order in, so
Had to get a year's supply, or well, we got a year's supply.
yeah, we're good until the end of 2022.
We couldn't find anybody want to sell us.
Yeah, it's one of the
Small amount.
items that are backlogged. Plastic bags, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So-
Did we clear up the confusion on the bags at the Stewarts last month was discussed?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we had a case on one of the skids that came in that shouldn't have been there.
A different county.
Yeah,
Different town.
should have gone to
Road bags.
Ohio.
Okay.
So, but that's been taken care of.
Stewart's was selling them anyway, so whether it came from Ohio or not, right?
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
actually.
put them out there. Thanks, Tom. Entertain a motion for Tom's report.
I'll make it. I'll second.
All in favor? Sarah, I'm sorry. I always have you last. I gotta do something. That's because you kind of pick us up before the resolutions.
I try to.
Well, you do all right.
So for our in-building services, that's study room use, the amount of people who come in to visit and browse, use our computers. The library itself was used 2,276 times in November. We checked out 5,179 items. That includes physical and digital. And our programs were attended 415 times. And that includes some special programs, including special needs sculpture classes and Hill Country Clogger story time. We've been trying to do some nice holiday things for the community. Yesterday, we made ornaments with some of our special needs groups. This morning, we had a holiday music class in our story time for our little ones. And tomorrow, we have a wrap party where we will have free wrapping paper, bows, tape for people to wrap their presents up with us. And at 4 p.m. after school tomorrow, the Hill Country Cloggers are coming back to give a holiday performance. So if anyone's in the area, stop by. They do a wonderful job. And we are also having a $5 a bag book sale fundraiser to raise money for the library. You buy a tote bag, you can stuff it silly. And I just wanted to say briefly, we did send out our holiday annual appeal, and I noticed several of the people in the room have given to the library, and I just wanted to say thank you officially. It does so much for us, more than most people realize, and we use every penny to try to give back to the community and enrich the town. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Entertain a motion for Sarah's report.
I'll make it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bill, how about some resolutions?
Okay. All right, first we have resolution number 67, 2021. Resolution approving agreement with Brunswick Fire Company Number 1 Incorporated.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
I abstain.
Abstained. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
We had a public hearing on both of the Mountain View and Brunswick one earlier tonight. So.
Okay, number 68, 2021. Resolution approving agreement with the Mountain View Volunteer Fire Company Incorporated.
I'll second it.
Resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Balistrary. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Number 69, 2021. Resolution adopting Town of Brunswick Local Law Number 4 of the year 2021, entitled "A Local Law to Opt Out of Allowing On-Site Consumption Sites as Authorized under Cannabis Law Article 4."
I'll second that.
The resolution was offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Balistrary. Resolution adopted, excuse me, roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 70, 2021. Resolution authorizing purchase of truck and associated equipment for Town of Brunswick Highway Department.
Second.
This is one dump truck, about $248,000 for a truck. It's for 2023 International, and they tell us to order it now, and you'll get it in 2024, maybe. So it's going to be a year old when we get this truck. So.
Okay, I have the offer. I didn't hear who seconded.
I did.
Okay. Foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Sullivan. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. That's all the resolutions.
All right, any old business? Whoop.
The old call.
So, go ahead.
A couple local introductory.
Yep.
What do we got?
Well, there's, I was asked to prepare 2 introductory local laws. There's local law number 4 of the year 2021. Is there a board member that's going to introduce it?
Which one's that?
A local law superseding town law, section 64, subdivision 11, regarding the designation of the official town newspaper of the town of Brunswick and the ability of the town board of the town of Brunswick to designate an alternate official town newspaper of the town of Brunswick.
Mark, did you want?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll offer it.
Okay.
So it just needs to be offered, correct?
Just needs to be offered. And the other one is, where'd it go?
That's the residency requirements.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's not it either.
The highway one.
Pardon me?
Highway one?
Yeah,
That's it right there. Is that it?
no, I had the, okay, well, I had a list that we're going to introduce. But anyway, the other one I prepared is introductory local law number 5 of the year 2021, a local law establishing the residency requirements for the appointed office of Superintendent of Highways of the town of Brunswick.
I'll offer. Corey's gonna introduce that.
Mr. Christian, you're offering that one?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to be looking for a highway superintendent quite soon because our highway superintendent is retiring. So this will allow us to look outside of the town of Brunswick, correct, Tom?
Correct. Anywhere within the county, the way it's
Anywhere
drafted.
within Rensselaer County. So we
So
need
the-
public hearings,
so you need
anything?
Public
Yep.
hearings, you need to schedule a public hearing. So we have the reading on the 28th, or no, I'm sorry, the 30th.
30th?
Do both of them before?
What, yeah,
Well, but we're
Tom,
doing
yes.
that at 5:30.
we had it at 5:30 to start with,
Yeah.
the other meeting. Why don't we leave it at 5:30 and start the public hearings then?
Okay with me.
If you make it any earlier, people.
Thursday.
No planning board.
So do the public hearing at 6 and 6:30, something like that?
All right with me?
Yeah.
Yep.
So which one? We have to designate it so I can put it in the
Sure.
notes. So you want to do 4 at 6 and 5 at 6:30?
Yes.
Now, that'll be before the regular meeting? Before the special meeting?
No, it's after.
After the special meeting? Okay.
No, 5:30, we're gonna do the end of year.
End of the
meeting,
year warrants. Okay, right.
And then 6 and 6:30 for 4 and 5.
Okay, I got it.
Right.
All right, everybody agree with that?
Yep.
So for the record, end of the year meeting at 5:30 on the 30th. Local law number 4, public hearing at 6. Local law number 5, public hearing at 6:30. Okay?
Yes.
Any other old business? New business. As we've spoken before, I mentioned before election, we are aware of Route 7. We are aware of the challenge. People are aware, I believe, that we did a couple of years worth of public hearings and stuff to do our comp plan when we did it. It came out quite loud and clear that people understood we needed a commercial area. That $250,000 one truck explains why we have to have sales tax and mortgage tax, unless your taxes are gonna go crazy. So there was a feeling among the residents of the town of Brunswick that Route 7 should be our commercial corridor for the water and the sewer. People and myself and the town board have strived to keep Route 2 basically free of apartment complexes, to make it single-family homes that it is. Personally, I pray quite often we can keep the rest of the town looking rural. We still got some farmers left, and if they can keep going, we still have some rolling hills out around that direction. I don't know if it matters or not. We just signed a contract at Harrington Farms to purchase another 160-acre farm. I happen to be 73, my brother's 81, but luckily I got a nephew and a niece who wants to continue farming. And we've rented a chunk of land for 42 years. Beautiful land off of Mickle Hill, 100 tillable acres. And we had an opportunity, thank God, because Mom and Dad who owned it loved farming, and the kids kind of feel the same way. They've been trying to get us to buy it for 2 years, and finally, with all these, and all due respect, solar panels going up all over, that people seem to love solar panels. That's great, but they're putting them on nice farmland, so pretty soon you're gonna drive around and see a lot of solar panels. So what I'm saying is Brunswick, as you drive out, believe it or not, a lot of people tell me they still enjoy the rural part. But with the commercial growth, and we put our apartments down below because of the water and the sewer, we try to get people, give an option to live. They had a lot of single family homes that, and a lot of people years ago told me that mom and dad didn't want to move out of Brunswick, but there's no housing options. So we allowed through PDDs and stuff, some apartments, condominiums, some options. And now the question is to take a look at that. We have a moratorium right now, studying where they need to go, if they need to go or whatever. But the traffic every day is getting more and more of a challenge. We do not own Route 7. I go on to Route 7, or I go on to the state personally over the years with engineers, with attorneys, and they quickly tell me when I walk in the door down in Albany, we got a lot of Route 7. What are you talking about? Nothing's going to happen out there. We just redid it. So you got another 20, 25 years, buddy. And when we tell these developers, I'm sorry, we don't think you can handle the traffic, they come in with a letter from DOT saying, we're okay with, DOT thinks that Route 7 is okay. They don't see a big problem. So it's been a challenge. That being said, our sales tax has been real good because of the growth, but we have we need to talk to DOT. We need to study, and with that, we've hired Mr. Bonesteel, and I'll ask him to come forward. And I believe there's a grant that we're looking at, and Wayne, maybe you can bring us up to speed. It's not an easy solution, basically.
No. I talked a little bit about CDTC and what their role is in planning projects for the area. So the Capital District Transportation Committee maintains a unified planning work program as one of its primary responsibilities as a metropolitan planning organization, the MPO. The Unified Planning Work Program assigns Federal Highway Administration and Federal Transit Administrative Planning funds to transportation planning activities that advance the principles of the region's metropolitan transportation plan. Examples of CDTC planning activities funding through the Unified Planning Work Program include consultant-led community, land use, and transportation plans. CDTC is initiating the process of developing an updated Unified Planning Work Program for the period April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2023. Projects that may be proposed include community and transportation linkage planning program projects. They call it the linkage program. In October, they put out a solicitation to all the communities, municipalities in the MPO. That includes Rensselaer County and all the towns and cities in Rensselaer County, to apply for grants to participate in this linkage program. I talked to Phil about reaching out to CDTC to see if we could put a viable plan or proposal together for a plan. So Russ Oster, planning board chairman, and I went and met with CDTC to discuss the viability of a proposal to study Hoosick Street in Brunswick. We had a nice discussion with the executive director of CDTC, and she was very pleased that the town of Brunswick was looking to them to do this study, and that they're aware of Route 7. There has been studies done of lower Hoosick Street. The city of Troy did a couple of corridor studies from the bottom of Hoosick Street up to North and South Lake Avenue. What we would like to do is something similar, but not necessarily the same, because the issues are a little different. They have 4 lanes, Brunswick does not. And the traffic is about the same. Traffic counts after you get off the bridge drop. I think it's like 50,000 cars on the bridge as you come off per day. Drops down to like 30,000 as you make your way up Hoosick Street. By the time you hit Brunswick, it's 26,000 cars a day. In that section between Lake Avenue and McChesney. And that's the peak hour during rush hour during the week. Midday peak on a Saturday, traffic counts are higher, about 27,000 cars a day. In our meeting with CDTC, we talked about a phenomenon, we'll say, of how the peak hour is changing because of the pandemic. They're finding that communities outside of the larger commercial business areas of Albany see more traffic during the day than they ever did. You'll see more traffic on Hoosick Street in Brunswick during the day than you'll see on Wolf Road. Because people aren't going to work, they're working from home. They travel in their local community. They're not driving out of their office to go to lunch or going somewhere, run an errand. They're in their own communities doing those things.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've noticed, but there has been an uptick in middle of the day traffic on Route 7.
Yeah, we've noticed.
Yeah. I mean, I'll drive up Route 7 at 1, 2 in the afternoon, and sometimes you have to sit at a couple of lights for more than one cycle.
I guess I'm causing that. I used to go to Wolf Road every day and just be in Albany County. But now, since I'm working home, sometime during the day, I'm wandering around Rensselaer County.
Right. It's happening like in Bethlehem and Guilderland,
Yeah,
those
interesting.
areas. Yeah. So after our meeting with CDTC, I downloaded the RFP from the solicitation to put together a proposal to submit to CDTC for a study of Hoosick Street. I'll read the brief project summary because they limited me to 100 words in the summary, so it won't take long. The goal of the town of Brunswick's comprehensive plan was to improve and maintain the integrity and capacity of the town's major arteries. The town of Brunswick is seeking solutions to issues associated with traffic through the core commercial area along New York State Route 7, between the city of Troy boundary and New York State Route 142. We also would like to include the connecting neighborhood streets as part of the study. The town of Brunswick seeks to partner with CDTC and New York State Department of Transportation to develop a plan through CDC's Community and Transportation Linkage Planning Program. I spoke to New York State DOT Regional Planning and Program Management Office to get their, to get a letter of support for this proposal. And they were happy to do that. They did provide me with a letter to submit with my proposal. So DOT is on board. I'm trying to go through the important parts of this. There's one section of the proposal asked me to describe how the proposed project advances the selected planning and investment principles of their work plan. A study of the Hoosick Road corridor will provide a plan to improve the movement of traffic through the area through access management, coordinated traffic control, sensible planning, and coordination of all stakeholders, including the town of Brunswick, New York State DOT, Brunswick residents, and private developers. Let me explain some of the points of that a little bit. Access management. There was an access management study done back in 2000 by DOT. It made recommendations how to manage driveways, side roads, because there are a lot of, we'll say, non-conforming driveways because they're so close together. There's roads that could potentially be realigned to provide better access to Route 7, on and off Route 7. As part of the planning board, we have implemented some of that, eliminating some curb cuts. We did ask Nigro to provide property so that they could widen, put an extra lane in front of his property there in the event that should we be able to do something that land is available. Some of the recommendations of that 2000 report were corrected through the DOT project when they put the center turn lane in. And I think they realigned a couple of side roads a little bit. So we are aware that there was a plan that had recommendations, and we do review that periodically to see if we're conforming to some of the recommendations. Certainly, should we get this grant, we will review the original access management plan along with that and take a look at what the city of Troy came up with for their corridor study, and kind of not mimic it, but make sure that it makes sense all the way from, Center Brunswick all the way into the city. Coordinated traffic control. The plan will take a look at the signals all the way from Grange Road all the way down to Lake Avenue. Believe it or not, over time, sometimes the timing gets messed up. Traffic isn't necessarily flowing in the most efficient way. And there's a way that they can tie them together so every signal knows what the other one is doing so that traffic flow can improve. I actually was talking to DOT last week. They have a new program out statewide that puts new technology into their traffic signals so they can collect data, so that they can tie it into the information management system down in Troop G. So they're looking at it, and you've been there, Mark. It's quite impressive.
It's very impressive.
They have a wall of TVs, like that DOT has their own space down there and that,
They do. Right in the state police.
yeah, for their traffic management system. So it's pretty cool
Can I
stuff.
ask you a question on the light park?
Yep.
Are they smart enough to adjust timing according to the traffic patterns at different times during the day, or is that not something they do?
Some of them are. If they have loops in the road, I don't know how many have loops in the road that do the detection. I believe they should all be on computers by now.
So the technology is out there to
The
do that.
technology is there so that each light knows what the other light
We
is
just don't
doing
know if it's
based
here.
on the traffic that's running through the light.
Okay.
Yep. It's no longer just a, 20-second timer that, just changes every 20 seconds.
Right.
They are computerized. It's important that we have the residents of Brunswick involved in the process. So there is a public participation element to this. I suggest at least 3 public meetings. That's if we get the grant and get through to the plan. I put that in here that all the stakeholders, including public participation, is important. At the beginning, when the planning starts, in the middle, to put what the proposal is, and then at the end to present the plan and get some feedback on that as well. I asked for the maximum amount of the federal funding available for the project. CDTC actually suggested that I do that because of the magnitude and the complexity of this potential plan. They do require that the town match 10% of the total cost. We talked about that.
Yeah.
I asked for $99,000, which would include a $9,000 cash match from the town. I think that wraps it up. Timing. They have to make their decision on which projects are selected based on the proposals, I think in February. They have to have all those figured out so they can incorporate them into the tip, with the rest of their federal funding.
That's fairly quick
It is,
for that part.
yeah. Here's how the project will work. CDTC will actually do the consultant procurement. They'll do the consultant management. The town doesn't have to worry about that. And they'll hire the traffic planning, transportation planning consultant to do the work, and they'll manage that contract. And then they have staff who would also participate in the plan. CDTC has a lot of information, a lot of data. They do traffic counts. They update them, if not every year, every 2 years. So I'm hopeful, based on the feedback I got from CDTC, that this is a viable proposal and that it will be successful. No guarantees, but I looked at some of the other communities that have done similar corridor studies, and this one for sure warrants, the time and effort and the resources to put together.
Excellent.
Anybody have any questions?
Super summary. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
I met with a newly elected supervisor in town of Skodak yesterday. That's a full-time position down there, Skodak. And he said to me, how can you run the town of Brunswick with a part-time position? I said, number one, I got a great wife. smartphone that I have learned. List of staff. Tom's been with me since day one, a great town board. But what you're seeing tonight, Russ Oster is our planning board chairman. We got a great planning board. He took the time to go down. You can listen to Wayne, see his knowledge. It's all about people here. Makes my life a lot easier. So I appreciate both of you guys taking the time, and we'll see what happens. When people yell at me, I can have to call you and yell at Route 7, but that's okay. So, anybody else at this point? Public access? Come on up.
Hello, Jesse Hoffman. I live on Russell Court. I was not able to attend the last meeting in person, but I did watch it afterwards. And I was disappointed in the way that the town treated Jen Mann with regard to the PFOA situation. She came out to my house, tested my water. She came out at 8 o'clock at night, probably after putting her kids to bed. She's a volunteer, dedicated volunteer. And I just thought that it was wildly inappropriate and unprofessional the way that this board publicly berated her over the minutia of the program that she was volunteering to implement on her own time. And I think that it would be prudent to publicly apologize for that treatment of her. Thanks.
All right, Joe. What happened was, I've been here a long time. With the farm, I don't know, a little loss of hearing, but my voice is quite loud. We've spent some money to get a wonderful magnifying or microphone. So personally, my voice got loud. Jennifer came up 4 different times and it just kind of kept fueling. The point I was trying to make, and it was personal because she volunteered and went out in the homes and got water samples. And I was one of them because I was concerned. I had kidney cancer a few years ago. My wife had breast cancer. And she was gathering these on her own, taking the time to take it in the lab. We paid for them, the homeowners. I think $500, $550 or whatever. What I did not realize was the results all went to her first. People that paid for them didn't get the results right away. She got them. So it was a personal thing because one of the other, the one well that was 25 foot deep that had a small, was a relation of mine with a history of some cancer in the family and lost her husband. And Jen went to her and told her she had PFOAs in her well. And she lost her husband out of about a 2-year throat cancer battle. And it just floored her. So I was kind of wishing it didn't come down that way. I was kind of wishing that the health department, who's equipped and who ought to be doing that, or if she told the family, but my relation was devastated because she babysits her grandchildren. So it got kind of personal with me and my voice got louder. I called Jen the next day and I said, listen, I've been here 20 plus, maybe 30 years. I don't raise my voice. I don't get carried away. I apologize to you if my voice was loud, but it was personal. I said, feel free to come up and say whatever's on your mind. That won't happen again. So I thought I had an understanding, acceptance with her moving ahead. I did do that. So, and again, my voice gets loud. So, so I think I talked to her. I think everything's okay. And I just got a lot, but she kept coming back up and it just fueled it, So I think I took care of it personally with her. So I think we're okay. So
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you letting us all know.
yeah, that's what happened. So yeah, people should, I've never lost it in all these years, but it was just so damn personal because of my sister, well, my relation and my wife and stuff. It just got a little out of control there. So Anybody else at this point? Nope, come on up.
Hi, Jason Delgazo, 22 Otsego Avenue.
I'm sorry, last name, sir?
Delgazo. All right. My concern is with the Hannaford's project, there was the day that I don't know if the truck took out the pole and they decided to start running dump trucks. I live on Otsego, which is the opposite side of the farm. And obviously it started to scare us because now we're going to have, eventually they're going to bring in all that fill. Are they going to decide to use our road? And also, we continue to have issues with the Duncans driving their delivery trucks up and down our road.
Yeah. Trailer trucks?
Yeah. Is there an ordinance about commercial?
They're supposed to be using Lord Avenue. They're not supposed to be coming up that Otsego.
Yeah.
I've talked to him before and he just blames the company, but.
It's their
that's not
trucks,
good enough.
Sickaway Creamery's trucks.
Are they?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
We had Gorelick, or not Gorelick, but Midland Farms trucks, delivery trucks coming.
I don't really always see those, but I always see his.
Let me try to talk to him again.
I mean, and they fly up and down that road. They don't, and now more and more, some people have moved in. More and more people are parking on the actual road itself, Otsego. So sometimes it can actually get a little tricky to get around. And I don't know what these people are going to do when the snows come and they start plowing, but it started getting really concerning about people, first off, getting my car through there, nonetheless getting a truck. But that one day obviously scared us about, are we going to have the dump trucks just going to decide, we need to keep this project going? Or if the traffic gets crazy up near Lord Avenue, are they going to, will the town stop them from doing that again? Because that was ridiculous and it was a little unnerving.
What happened there was, let me mention.
What happened?
Yeah, I can explain what happened, Chuck. What happened there was the company that they had clearing the bank hit a guide wire on a telephone pole or on a power pole. The thing was completely rotted. I got a picture of it. And when they hit that guide wire, the pole went over and blocked the road. What happened was they had like 8 loaded trucks already on Route 7 that were loaded. And they didn't know what to do. So I made the decision, take them, dump them, and then you're done. And Mr. Del Signor, who lives in the town of Brunswick, he already made that decision before I called him. So those trucks went on your road to get dumped and emptied, and that was the end of it. I don't see that happening again.
Obviously, because I've been here for the other plan, and I've heard how many trucks they're going to be bringing in.
Oh, boy.
for a fill.
Yeah, you don't want them going up
I mean,
there.
that was like the first day I had even seen trucks going down Lord Avenue. So
Yep.
obviously, I'm like, they already knocked over something that caused them not to be able to use that road. Now we're going to have hundreds of trucks coming in and out of there.
To be honest with you, it was a good thing that happened. That pole, I got a picture of it, completely rotted. A power line. If that thing came over during a storm, which was the only thing holding up with a guide wire with live wire on it, it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, I understand, but obviously the last thing I need is,
Yeah, I
especially
understand.
because I'm already dealing with with the Duncans and their delivery trucks. I'm not even talking about their
I could
their
talk to them
contract.
again. Sometimes that's a challenge.
But I've come to accept that. I do not want to accept dump trucks deciding to
No.
go up our road because they can't get through Lord Avenue for whatever reason. Because I mean, we've already spoken about the traffic, and I'm afraid of that traffic light.
Yeah.
When that new traffic light comes in, obviously there's nothing we can do. It was the DOT's call on that. But I mean, I've seen the traffic get blocked up all the way from where my road is all the way to Price Chop, Market 32 there. So I'm a little scared of when there's another traffic light between there. But I really am a little worried that those dump trucks in their not being able to get through, they're going to start trying to cut through some other roads. So I just wanted to make sure that the town's going to be stopping that, because like I said, that frightened
Yeah.
us, and we do not want that.
If you see a truck, call this office.
We will.
promise.
I have someone home all the time. I will definitely call.
Do
Thank
that.
you.
Anybody else at this point?
Yeah, Jim Tatchik, 387 Brunswick Road. I would like to thank Councilman Christian for catalyzing the repair on Shine Road at the bottom. It was causing a big problem. You know, there was I don't know, Gordy, if you noticed, there was a hole this big. You got bored, the water, the trouble is the ATVs were knocking the gravel down, not just gravel, but big rocks, into the drainage pipe there. So the water was backing up, it was sheeting over the road, and it was going into that, on the other side of Shine Road. There was a hole this big that had been cut, eroded by that water. Didn't seem like a lot of water. And it was actually underneath the pavement on Route 2. It was underneath, that thing extended as far as the painted line. It was a cavern underneath there. My wife, who's also an engineer, she can attest to that. We were watching the progress of this. So they blocked off the source of it, which is the path for the ATVs to come down there. And I'm impressed by the initiative of the highway people to fill that cavern, because they took some of that, there was a lot of that load there, and they put it in there. It looks like they packed it in there pretty well. So that saved a big problem on Route 2. Okay. Now, as a follow-up, I think I have it wasn't my idea. It was an idea of, Ms. Daniels, Kim Daniels, who lives up in Dr. Daniels' house. It's the first one up Shine Road, okay? But anyways, she has an idea for neighborhood beautification, of painting the Jersey barriers. Can we paint the Jersey barriers?
Have at it.
Okay. Now, she's also a beekeeper, so we were talking about having a bee motif for the painting. All right?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Now, on the other end of Shine Road, I sent some pictures of that flooding. Did those get around to the highway department?
I was there. I went down and looked at that.
Did you?
You know, if the neighbors decided to open up their driveway culverts, they would alleviate a lot of that. And then we did go down and look at that culvert that had trees growing through it. We're aware of that.
Okay.
But the neighbors could help themselves a whole lot if they went down with a shovel at the end of their driveway and clean some of that up.
Gordy,
They're not getting good drainage down through there, and then it's pooling on their lawns.
I went over there with a shovel and my claw rake, and it's not at the mouth. It's somewhere in that culvert. I went in there as far as the rake.
I was there. I saw it myself. I know, maybe that was after. Maybe you were there after I was there.
No, I was.
But
whatever. But I think it's something. I don't know if there's a schedule for this sort of maintenance for the spring. I don't.
We tried to. Yes.
Okay.
They're aware of it.
All right. Okay.
I mean, we're there. I mean, I don't know. It was overgrown. I don't even think they knew that it was there. But yeah, it needs to be opened up.
All right. Okay.
So they're aware.
All right. Isn't that's the town? The town's going to do this. You think?
Yeah.
This next year?
Well, I don't know if they're going to do it before spring.
No. I mean, I don't expect them to do it till after spring.
Yeah, but they're aware of it.
All righty. And I'm also heartened by the attention getting paid to Route 7. And I just had a question about Wayne, the things, the documents you've generated so far. Are those going to end up in the town hall for viewing? Or is it for?
Yeah. I can give it down and
Fix one, probably move on to the next.
make it available to them. I think I sent a copy to Bill. It doesn't have all the attachments, but all they were with the letters from the
Okay.
I'll provide.
All right.
maybe Tom could chime in whether or not it's.
I'll look at it when it comes in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If it's, privileged information or not. I think, Tom's call.
All right. And then you talk about, like a 2000, year 2000 planning document, those for the.
No, the access management.
Right,
plan,
yeah.
2000.
Is that available? Does someone in the town have that? you think?
Actually, it was in the documents for one of the projects that I'm used to, so that's.
Okay.
that's
Wonder if, could you send that along or make sure that?
I'll send that to Tom as well.
Okay, all right. And then I wholeheartedly applaud the thing about the public forums for input from the public, which I'm always pushing for and things like that, okay? And I'm still waiting for our review of the public forum for the review of the zoning.
Still working at that.
Okay, so.
Yeah, it's coming.
All right,
It's a process too, so.
all right, thank you very much.
Hey, Jim, my nephew donated those Jersey barriers. My brother and myself spent 2 days trying to figure out where the heck the Jersey barriers went, but
Well,
Jason's friend's the
if you
highway guy, so that's okay. That's good. That's good. Good. Good.
This could be a bonanza for you, because if you get them back, they may be.
No, we're not going to get them back. We're good.
Well, if they did, they might have artwork on them. It might be worth
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Kenny said, where the heck did Jersey barriers go? So, but that's all good. All good. Anybody else at this point? Entertain a motion. to it.
Well, we did have a little correspondence. You skipped over that.
Oh, geez. Did I miss the correspondence?
Yeah.
Sorry.
One of them should have been actually considered from the public addressing.
Okay.
They couldn't make it to the meeting, but we received a letter from Judy Austin Rancourt on Carroll's Grove Road, and it concerns everything we've been talking about tonight. I'm not going to read the whole letter. Specifically, the traffic backup on Route 7 that's actually starting to back up going west also, which is a concern, from the Harley shop all the way down towards Stewart's and everything. So he's just very concerned about that, and that she suggests, which is what we're obviously doing, working with DOT and even Troy to help rectify the situation. And that was the gist of her letter. And she asked that I give you all copies, and they're all in your package. Okay. And then we had one other thing. This was sent to Sharon Zankel. This was from Craig and Natalie Hertow. Now, she was the previous librarian, right? I believe. Yep. Mhm. And I'm going to have to use my magnifier to read this. Dear Sharon, thank you so much for taking the time to show us the cemetery and historical documents. It was a real treat to have a personal tour, and I'm so sorry I never saw it when I was in Brunswick. You have done an outstanding job, and your passion should be awarded. And thank you very much. And that was from Natalie Hertow.
Okay.
That's it.
Anybody else?
We pay bills?
Didn't pay the bills.
Gotta pay the bills.
Make a motion
Trying
to pay the
to,
bills.
boy, that would have been a disaster.
Okay, that would
I'll
be.
second.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Do we miss anything else?
Did we miss anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.